So what do you think will happen if you burn the American flag? Well, before today, it was legal. Like, yeah, it was actually legal. And not just legal, it was protected under the First Amendment as protected speech. So yeah, it was an American citizen's right to burn the flag. But Trump didn't like that, and he actually made it illegal. Well, not just illegal, he made it so that if you burn the American flag, you will get 1 year in jail. Yeah, you'll actually go to jail if you burn the flag now. And he signed the executive order to make it basically a law on August 25th, 2025. So yeah, people can't burn the American flag. To be honest with you, I actually didn't know that burning the American flag was legal in the US. Like, I really didn't. But apparently it's a whole drama, a whole story, and I thought that story was interesting, so today, with the US, hey, what's up guys? We will tell you the story behind the drama of burning the American flag. So remember I just told you that burning the American flag was a right and Americans can do it? Well, it wasn't always that case. It was a whole thing back in like 1984 because of someone getting arrested because he burned the flag. And that person was a 27-year-old man named Gregory Lee Johnson. Let's go back to 1984 in Dallas, Texas. And back then, President Ronald Reagan was just reelected, and there were a lot of people celebrating, but there were also a lot of people who were angry with him because they didn't like his policies. And Gregory was one of those people who really didn't like Ronald Reagan. And he was protesting against the president's policies. And to make a statement, he brought up the American flag, sprayed it with kerosene, and set it on fire. And the flag went up in flames. And some protesters who didn't like Reagan cheered, but also the people who were happy with Reagan were angry because someone just burned the American flag. So yeah, there was a lot of drama, but the police just quickly moved in and arrested Gregory. And he was charged under a Texas law because it was a crime to desecrate or basically disrespect the American flag. So Gregory was now convicted and he was sentenced to 1 year in jail. But wait, US, like, was that normal to go to jail back then for burning the American flag? Well, back then, yeah, but the story does not end there. Continue. Okay, so to Gregory, it was just a form of protesting. Like, burning the flag was a form of him protesting and expressing his feelings. But in Texas, it was a crime. But Johnson was like, nah, I'm not gonna stay in jail. I'm gonna appeal the decision and go to court. And thing is, this case went all the way up to the US Supreme Court, which is like the highest court in the country. People thought like, obviously he's gonna go to jail. Like, he burned the American flag, but the Supreme Court surprised everyone because their decision was in favor of Gregory. Like, in a vote of 5-4, the Supreme Court said that burning the American flag now is a form of symbolic speech protected by the First Amendment of the US Constitution, which means that Gregory is now free. He's not going to jail anymore. The thing is, it was huge in the US because 48 states out of 50 had a law that said that burning the American flag was illegal. But now, after the Supreme Court decision, it's not illegal anymore. Yeah, but a lot of Americans weren't happy and they felt that burning the flag was like an insult to the whole country. That's true. And the thing is, the battle wasn't actually over because a lot of politicians tried to change that law again in order to make it illegal again to burn the American flag. Because then in 1989, the US Congress passed a new law called the Flag Protection Act, which again bans the flag, right? So the law is back, but then protesters were like, we don't like that. Like, people just went in the streets in Washington, D.C. and burned the flags just to test that new law. And those protesters were arrested. But once again, the Supreme Court stepped in and they're like, yeah, they didn't break any laws. By 1990, it was settled that burning the American flag now is legal. Like, they can't do anything about it and people can't get arrested. But now Trump comes to the story. I have a feeling like every story related to me now is about Trump. Well, what can I say? He's a dramatic guy. But anyways, Trump now wins the first elections. That was back in 2016 when he first became president. He was like, you know what? Nobody should burn the American flag. And if they do, there must be consequences. And he said that the consequences could be a loss of citizenship or even a year in jail. That was back in 2016. And I don't know if you know, but Trump's first term as president was like a test run. Like he wasn't as what he is right now. Like right now, he's just like, I want to do this, I'm doing it. I'm not thinking about it. But back then, he wasn't as serious, like, so that whole flag thing didn't go anywhere. Like, Trump just kept bringing it up and stuff, but he didn't change anything and he didn't make a law to make it illegal. And at the same time, people were like, that's an old topic. That was already settled in court back in like 1989. So they were even confused why bring it up again. Still, Trump was upset about that whole flag thing, and he kept reminding people that it's not okay and I don't like this. But again, he didn't make anything during his first term. Now that Trump is president again, he's a little bit more courageous. Like he's just doing basically whatever he wants. And one of the things that he's doing this time is making burning the flag illegal. August 25th, 2025, he signs an executive order that says that if you burn the flag, you will get 1 year in jail.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail.
He was like, there will be no exemptions, no early releases. You will be behind bars for a whole year for burning the American flag. But also his reasoning was that the flag burners were not really protesters, but more like troublemakers. Wait, what do you mean by that? He said that people who burn the flag are dangerous and they often lead to riot. Okay, interesting, but thing is, Trump is also going after immigrants with this, right, US? Yeah, he is. So apparently now if a non-US resident who lives in the US burns the American flag, they can get their visas canceled. And if they have green cards or even citizenship applications, they can also get it canceled because that person burned the American flag. So that actually means that if a non-US citizen burns the American flag, they can actually get deported because their visa or green card or whatever will just get canceled. And as you know, ICE will just jump at them and deport them. But the thing is, this fight is not really over because remember, burning the American flag was a right under the First Amendment of the Constitution. So who knows, maybe the Supreme Court will just come again and be like, yeah, Trump can't really do that. Or maybe the Supreme Court will join Trump's side this time and be like, yeah, Trump's law makes sense, and now burning the American flag will get you 1 year in jail. But we will see what's gonna happen. Like, there is always drama in me. That's true. Like, there is a lot of drama in the US. And thing is, I've been talking a lot about the US in the channel. Like, a lot. And you guys definitely told me that I make a lot of US videos now, or like Trump videos. And the thing is, I want to make like a news summary in my videos, like important news that happened in the week, like maybe weekly, maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times, we'll see. But they can't all just be US news, right? Like, obviously there is stuff happening everywhere in the world, like so many news are happening. If you guys want me to talk about a specific story that happened in your country, might as well say it in the comments because I will read them and I will take your suggestions because yeah, we can't just have all the news summaries talking about news that happened in the US, right? We gotta talk about stories happening in different places. And yeah, that's basically the story of today. And also I wanted to get your opinion, like, do you actually think that it's okay to burn the flag of the country you're staying in, or is it just freedom of expression? I don't know. People have mixed opinions on this, and I want your opinion about this as well. And anyways, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye guys, see you next time.